Good morning, everyone. We want to welcome you to our webinar today with ChargeLogic. I know we're all excited to jump right in, so I'm just going to mention a couple things before we get started here. First of all, if you have any questions during the webinar, feel free to type them into that question box. I will call them out and get them answered for you. The other part is we always record all of our webinars, so if you want to access the recording later, it is going to be up on our website, innovia.com, by the end of the day. So without any further ado, Debbie, I will hand it over to you.
Great. Thanks, Abby. Well, thank you first for having us today, and we appreciate everybody taking the time to take a look at all things ChargeLogic. My name is Debbie Adler, as Abby said. I am the Partner Channel Manager here for ChargeLogic. So we don't sell our software directly. We sell it through only the best NAV resellers in the channel, and we've been working with Innovia for many years. So today, I'm just going to jump in. We're going to provide really an overview of our different products, and we hope that your NAV users will see how easy it is to use them. We have very seamless integrations into the NAV system, and our goal is so that you guys can spend more time focusing on what's important to your business and not worrying about how all these things are happening behind the scenes. All right, so let's get started here. All right. So let me start by just telling you a little bit about ChargeLogic, the company. We are known for our flagship solution, ChargeLogic Payments, and that's providing PCI-validated payment processing right inside of your NAV system. The software does a lot more than just straightforward payment processing, but overall our company has grown to offer a lot of services that we see people need, kind of all really related to credit card processing in some way. ChargeLogic Connect is our cloud-based service that you subscribe to once you have ChargeLogic Payments running in your NAV system. And that lets you integrate any e-commerce site with your NAV system. There is a tokenization service where you can store card numbers outside of your NAV system. We store them on our cloud instead. And that helps with your overall PCI compliance requirements. There's also an electronic invoicing feature where you can send out invoices that include a button that a customer can click to pay securely online and have that payment come right into your NAV system. And you can do that for statements as well. We'll see all this in action. ChargeLogic Shipping allows you to provide accurate rate quotes when the order is being placed. You don't have to wait until it gets to the warehouse. And that actually does relate to credit card processing, helping save your company money and really fulfilling our promise of helping businesses drastically reduce credit card downgrade fees and help you get the lowest possible rates. And finally, ChargeLogic Notify is our email notification software, and it lets you provide customized targeted emails to keep your customers up to date about their orders, similar to like what you might get when you place an order with Amazon online. And we'll see how that works as well. This illustration just shows how all of our products can work together throughout the whole order fulfillment cycle to provide you with a fully automated process and your customers really a smooth shopping experience. So here we have a customer and she wants to buy your products. She can place an order via email, phone, e-commerce, if you have a retail store. The order gets processed through ChargeLogic Payments that's running inside of your NAV system. Once the order gets placed, you can email an order confirmation, thank you for your order, using ChargeLogic Notify. You can then ship the product out using ChargeLogic Shipping inside of your NAV system. And finally, ChargeLogic Notify can send a shipment notification and even an invoice. So your customers had the smooth experience, knew exactly what was going on with the order all along the way, and you have everything you need to provide that customer with the experience that's fully automated in your system. ChargeLogic Payments is the only payment processing software that's fully integrated with NAV, that's PCI validated, and connects directly to payment processors. And these are all things that are valuable to cut down on costs and processing fees, as well as providing a secure environment. There are all kinds of optional settings in the software that can help with a lot of the automation, daily processes, so users don't have to manually be typing things in. And again, we like to focus on the security and the ease of use for your users. ChargeLogic Payments can process a wide variety of electronic payments beyond just standard credit cards, and all of these can be processed anywhere in NAV that you could put any kind of a payment, sales orders, service orders, posted invoices, credit memos, anywhere in NAV that you could put through a payment. I do want to point out that in addition to regular credit cards, and there's some other features you can use, a gift card program, you can take debit cards, you can process checks. But the one that I have highlighted here, this level 2 and level 3 purchase cards. So any company who's doing business-to-business transactions or has business-to-business customers, ChargeLogic has the functionality built into it to automatically send some extra detail with those transactions. So orders that are paid for with these types of corporate credit cards. Sometimes they're called corporate cards, purchase cards. All government credit cards fall into this category. And by being able to send this extra detail, this level 2 and level 3 data, it actually can significantly lower your processing fees on those transactions. Or maybe a better way to put it would be not sending it can significantly increase processing fees for those transactions. The best thing is that there's nothing that you have to do as a user. You don't have to know which kind of card is a corporate card. The software communicates with the payment processor, and we know which transactions to send that detail with. So the only thing that's required is picking a payment processor that supports these kinds of transactions, and there are many to choose from. We're always, your partner is available to help you select those, and we're always available behind the scenes for any consulting that's needed to help point you to the best processors for your needs. Okay, so I want to review some credit card basics just so that we know who all the players are, how the process is kind of working behind the scenes, and where ChargeLogic fits into the picture here. So a customer can make a purchase, as we said, any sales channel that you might have, people being able to place orders with. That transaction is going to pass through ChargeLogic payments and go out to your payment processor. So this is when you're trying to get an approval on a credit card. And the payment processor is the company you've signed up for a merchant account to take credit cards. The payment processor is going to reach out to the different card associations, so that would be the card type, Visa, MasterCard, etc. It's actually the card association that reaches out to your customer's credit card company to see if the funds are available. The credit card company sends that response back, hopefully it's an approval, and that just happens all throughout the course of the day, anytime you need to charge a credit card. The whole process in real time, we'll see it in a few minutes here, it takes about a second or two. Then at the end of the day, all those cards that you're going to charge today get sent out in a batch to the payment processor. The processor pings all the individual customers' banks, the card issuing banks, to say those approvals that we got earlier, we want to charge the cards today. All those different credit card companies fund the processor. The processor keeps their share and gives you the rest and gets that deposited right into your bank account. And it's the keeps their share piece that's a variable that we focus on quite a bit, because we think you should get to keep as much of your own money as possible. All right, so now that we kind of know who some of these players are, let's talk about how these fees kind of are assessed. And this is all designed really more of an educational piece to help you understand, how are these fees being assessed and how to get the lowest possible fees. So these fees all start, and this, you'll usually you'll go to your bank or you'll select a payment processor, and they will give you some set of fees, based on your business, your volume, and any other factors they might take into consideration. And then you basically pay them. There's not a whole lot, to really, it's hard to understand what they're charging you. So we're just trying to clear that up a little bit. It starts with the interchange fees. These are not negotiable. This is just fees assessed by the different card associations. Then there is usually a per transaction fee, and this is your negotiated rate. Maybe it's somewhere between 1.5%, 1 3/4, 2% is pretty standard for a per transaction fee. And what you don't really always find out, or it might be in the fine print, is that you only get that qualified rate if there's a whole list of criteria that has to be met for the transaction to be considered qualified. And if you don't meet all that criteria, the transaction starts to do what's called downgrading. It falls into some different rate tiers, mid and non-qualified. again, once you get funded, those fees have already been subtracted. So the goal is, let's see what we can do to prevent, we want to try to meet that criteria as much as possible. And some of it is just really basic things. Performing an address verification on every credit card transaction, making sure that the amount you authorized matches the amount you settled. This is where ChargeLogic Shipping comes into play, which we'll see shortly. Not having too much time between the original authorization and when you're actually ready to charge the card. And there are a list of other things. And then on top of that, if you are transacting through a payment gateway, and we'll learn a little bit about gateways and processors here, but a payment gateway sits between you and your payment processor. In that previous slide where we saw the transaction go out to your processor, if you're using a payment gateway like Authorize.net is a very popular one, it's making a stop through the gateway and the gateway is handing it off to the processor. So of course they're not doing that out of the goodness of their hearts. They will charge you some fee. So right off the top, using ChargeLogic, you can get rid of your gateway fees. We are certified to go straight to the payment processor. And then we have a lot of features built into the software to try to get you to that qualified rate as much as possible. We certainly aren't trying to say we can eliminate downgrades, but being able to do some of these basic requirements, knowing the amount that you need to charge up front, doing address verification, those purchase cards I talked about, being able to send that extra detail can significantly reduce your downgrade fees. We are certified on, I think we're up to close to 25 maybe, different processors, payment processors and payment gateways. And even though I just said you don't need a gateway, so you might ask, why are we certified on gateways? But there are some customers who either they've had a standing relationship with a gateway or they, for whatever reasons, maybe they have negotiated a great deal. Some of these payment gateways are big companies and might be able to offer some lower fees structure. And really, we just want customers to have a choice to use who they want to use. We will recommend going straight to a processor unless there is some business reason that you want to stick with a gateway, and we have plenty of customers that do. But we do have a compatibility matrix on our website. We do recommend, like I mentioned, if you have B2B customers, that's probably an area where you can save a lot. And your partner can help you narrow down the search, which payment processors help you save money on those transactions. All right, PCI Compliance. This is a big buzzword in the credit card industry where a lot of times you'll see there are PCI DSS requirements, which is just payment card industry data security standards. And we feel like since credit cards was our mainstay product for many, many years, it's really important to go that extra step, not just saying we're PCI compliant, but we actually go through a very stringent validation process that requires us to have our code and our company certified by an approved quality security assessor. There's this organization, if you haven't already heard of them, the PCI Security Standards Council. We have lists of qualified security assessors, and many merchants will use them too, just to have them audit what you've got going on and make sure that you are following the rules. But you can go to their website and you can actually see a list of approved companies. And ChargeLogic Payments is considered a payment application. It does just become part of your NAV system, but it is in there somewhere. You can type in the company name and make sure that the software is acceptable for new deployments. So it's really important for your own protection that you're using a validated payment application. And we do like to brag about it because this is not an easy feat. It's something that has to be done it's continually done. We have to renew our validation status on a regular basis. All right, so we've talked about or loaded with lots of features to help you automate. The automations can also help save time just in your internal resources, not having to do a lot of duplicate data entry. Cash applications are done automatically. You can schedule recurring payments. There are lots of batch processes that can be run. So in addition to lowering processing fees, we want to also help you let your users have time to do more what your company does instead of spending time on the administrative requirements. ChargeLogic Payments has freed up 25 to 50% of a full-time person for many of our customers, as it's been reported. And that just lets you focus on your own strategic initiatives. All right, so that was the ChargeLogic Payments overview. And we're going to do a little quick overview of the other products, and then we're going to jump into NAV in a couple of minutes here. ChargeLogic Connect is a subscription service, as I mentioned in the beginning, designed for e-commerce integration, helps with your PCI compliance, and also helps you with your accounts receivable. So it is a subscription service. There is a monthly fee for it, but you only pay for what you use, and you can add or subtract services as necessary. This is the only one of our services that does have a prerequisite of ChargeLogic Payments running in your NAV system, and ChargeLogic Connect is our cloud-based service. And we've kind of divided the services that are available into these three categories. Tokenization is probably a reason many people sign up for it, even if they don't have an e-commerce site. You can get traditional tokenization with companies like Authorized.net payment gateways, but their version is very limiting and also requires you to transact through their gateway, so can result in paying gateway fees unnecessarily. We have our own version, which allows you to store card numbers on our servers in the cloud, but you're not transacting through us. We basically just act like a hard drive in the cloud. And we'll see the database I'm using today is set up for secure remote storage. Then there's an e-commerce integration option. If you have, basically any website can integrate with ChargeLogic Connect, and what we do is allow you to get payments securely on your website and have those automatically come into your NAV system. You can even have the order information itself from the order the customer places online automatically come into NAV and create a sales order. And if you have a need for a gift card program, if you've got an omni-channel business where people might be able to come into a store or call on the phone or go online to order, you can have real-time balances maintained in the cloud to prevent anybody from sort of double dipping in their gift card balance. And then finally, we do have this click-to-pay accounts receivable feature. And this is a special invoice that gets emailed to your customer where they can pay securely online. The email they get generically would look like this. When you post an invoice in NAV, if you're set up for this, it automatically will send an email out to the email address of the customer you have on file. And attached to that email is a PDF invoice. The customer can see, what they're being billed for. And then there's this link, click to pay. When they click it, it's going to take them to a hosted site on our Connect server. So when they're entering their credit card information, they're not touching your systems. It's very secure. And that payment and a token with representing that card number will automatically come into your NAV system. At ChargeLogic Notify, as I mentioned, this is our email notification software. It comes pre-programmed with 8 email templates, and you can completely customize these. It does require using some HTML to do so. But it comes preloaded with sending out an order confirmation, shipment notification, invoices, quotes, credit memos. You can even do a click-to-pay statement. We'll see how that looks. But it allows you to really target your customer base. You can send different emails to different groups of people. And it does integrate very nicely with our other products. So, for example, that previous slide when we saw our click-to-pay invoice, which was generic, but gets the job done. This is the same click-to-pay invoice using ChargeLogic Notify, which is a much nicer looking piece. The email itself becomes the invoice rather than an attachment, but it still has that same click-to-pay button at the bottom. So we'll see how that goes as well, looking inside the software. And then finally, ChargeLogic Shipping. We think it's the most intelligent integrated shipping for Microsoft Dynamics NAV. It's designed, again, it kind of came about because what we were seeing was a lot of people were paying higher processing fees for credit cards when they weren't able to quote freight prices up front and give accurate rate quotes right up front. So they were waiting until the order is sitting on the scale in the warehouse before they could add the freight amount. So it allows users to do that. It's designed to be easy to implement, easy to use. Got some cool features in it, easy return shipments where you can automatically generate an email to a customer that has a label that they can use for the printout and use for their return. We have direct connections with the carriers. So that means that when you're rate shopping to get the freight charges, it's actually connecting to your negotiated rates at these different carriers. Instead of a published rate, which is normally if you're using, the off-the-shelf systems, you're connecting to the published rate, but that doesn't really reflect what you're actually paying. So we are certified with UPS, U.S. Post Office, Federal Express, TNT. We are working on a DHL integration, and we are looking to add Canada Post as well. And our shipping product allows you to ship also, of course, from anywhere in North America, U.S. and Canada. And there are some built-in features in it that are designed to help give better quotes. The smart pack technology and smart weight technology helps with your rate shopping. All right, so let's open up NAV. We're going to see all of these products working together to give your customers and your NAV users sort of this seamless workflow. And as I mentioned, while these products can be used separately, other than ChargeLogic Connect, which does require payments, I'm going to show it to you just all working together. And then as we go through, just sort of try to focus on the features and functionality that you see that might help make your jobs easier and your customers have an overall better experience with your company. And then you can talk to your NAV partner to say, if I want to be able to do this feature and that feature that I saw, and then they can help work with you to figure out what you need to get that experience. All right, so let's jump into NAV and see what all this is about. We're looking at NAV 2015. Our products are back compatible. We're fully set up all the way through NAV 2016, and I think we do have a few customers still using NAV 3.6. So the version of NAV you're on shouldn't prevent you from using any of our products. I'm going to start by just taking a quick look at a customer card. Now my database, again, I've got everything going on in here. All of our products and services are set up. So I am using our tokenization secure remote storage service. And from the customer card, you can do a lookup and see all the credit cards that this customer has on file. And actually what you're looking at is tokens that represent the card number. So the cards are being stored on the Connect server. Out of the box, ChargeLogic can store the card numbers encrypted in your NAV system, and that is still PCI compliant. But of course, not storing card numbers takes you much further along on your PCI compliance requirements. So if somebody ever does get into your network, they won't be able to do anything with these tokens. When you type in a credit card, and let me just put in a new card here, the only time your users are going to see the actual card number is when they type it in. As soon as I leave this field, somewhere right around the middle of your screen, you're going to see it say accessing remote storage. And what it's doing is actually sending the card number up to the Connect server, getting a token, and getting the token back into NAV. This is a live connection. That's about how long it really takes. Now you don't have to come here to enter the card number. You can enter it right on the fly on any sales document, anywhere in the system that you're charging a credit card. I'm just showing it to you here as an example. From that point forward, users will see the actual last four, and there's absolutely no impact to functionality if you are using tokens in your NAV system or you have encrypted card numbers. One of our automations that if you have regular customers who normally use the same credit card number each time, you can set a default card. Every time you open up a sales document or a credit card transaction, it will pull in that default card number automatically. And you can store card numbers against customers and contacts. And we're going to see all this when we do some transactions here in a second. You also, from the customer card, can navigate to the list of all the credit card transactions that have ever been processed for this customer. So if you need to do some research or somebody's questioning a charge, it's very easy to track down what you're looking for. So while we're here, we're going to look at one more thing. I talked about ChargeLogic Notify having targeted emails that you can send out. And you can set up these emails at the order level, or you can set it up at the customer card and contact level, where if you have different contacts, maybe you've got different contacts associated with the same customer, you can actually go to their contact card in NAV, and you can see over here on the right, we've added these fields where you can set people up as to CC or BCC for all different kinds of document types. So maybe anytime a quote is requested. You can have that go out automatically. Order confirmation, shipments, invoices, returns, credit memos, and I don't show it here, but statements is another option. And we'll see that on a sales order. So let's go to a sales order now and see what this is all about. I'm going to use the trusty Canon group here. And what do I want to sell? I'll sell an expensive bicycle, make it some unique dollar amount. So if I navigate, I go to the Navigate ribbon, I can look up email addresses and see a list of everybody that ChargeLogic thinks is associated with this customer. And they can be associated in different ways. This first line represents a salesperson. Maybe I want a salesperson to get copied every time their customer places an order, so they know that there's an order out there. You can set people up for 2 CC, and what we'll show you is, depending on what kind of document you're on, it will show you the applicable email templates that you can send out. And you can always very easily add another name. Maybe I want to blind copy myself, you know, for sales quotes. So it's very easy to manage, and once you have it set up, it can automatically happen, or as I said, at the sales order level, I can make that happen automatically as well. All right, I think I changed my mind on the items. I'm going to ship, because we're gonna incorporate everything in here, and I'm gonna ship 20 side panels instead. All right, so let's take a look. Over on the right, I have this Eft Fact Box, and this allows you at a glance to look at a sales order and see whether any credit card transaction has been processed against it yet. So if somebody's coming behind you or a customer calls to see if you've gotten your payment, you can easily see whether there's an authorization, which is just holding the funds, or a settlement, which is actually charging the card. The other thing we can see on this order, if we look down at the bottom, this customer must have had a default card on file, because all I did was open a sales order and there's already a credit card number here. It doesn't mean I have to use the default card number. I can do a lookup and pick one of the other card numbers on file. Maybe I want an American Express on this one. It's editable. I could type in a brand new card number. Card numbers get stored automatically. The first time you get a new credit card number given to you, which might just be on a new sales order, as soon as you get your first approval on that card number, it'll automatically store it against the customer or contact, and that's how that list gets populated over time. All right, so now let's bring in some ChargeLogic shipping here. I am going to do a rate shop to see what my freight choices are. Let's see, I forgot to fill in my shipping agent though. Okay, let's go to our shipping tab where we've added some functionality as well. So I'm going to pick UPS as my shipping agent. And you can set this at the customer card that maybe this customer has indicated they always want to use a specific carrier. And then there are other things built in for one, picking whether it's commercial or residential. That helps with my more accurate rate quoting. I can select Saturday delivery. I can request some different delivery confirmations, signatures, etc. I can choose shipping carbon neutral. I can bill to a third party. And I also the tracking number itself is going to back populate into the sales document and allow me to send that tracking information when I send out a notify email. All right, so now let's try that rate shop again. Now this is making a direct connection to my contracted rates with UPS. And I apologize, our test server has been a little bit slow. That's all we get though. Okay. So here is a list of all the available shipping options. I can see, you know, which option it is, the delivery date and time is coming from UPS in real time. It's basing it on where I'm shipping it from. And then I see two columns here. I've got my cost, which is actually what I'm going to be charged. That's my negotiated rate. And then I have a price column. Now, not everybody is going to expose that cost column to their users, but you could. But the price column would reflect my shipping cost plus any markup if I've chosen a markup. And there are all different ways you can do pricing markups. You can have a mixture. You can do, you know, flat rate, $5 an item. You can say item categories, item product group, so maybe all books and CDs are $5 each. I can add $10 to every order. I can add a percentage. I can have campaign pricing, so maybe I have a special going on between these dates. It's free. Maybe it's over a certain dollar amount. All kinds of ways you can decide how you want your freight charges to go. It can be based on customer groups. So it makes it very easy to sort of calculate what kind of profit margin you can expect from your freight charges. Or, of course, you can always pass on direct costs. And then down at the bottom, I'm also being given an estimate using ChargeLogic Shipping Smart Pack, how many boxes it's going to take to ship this product. And that's important to get an accurate rate quote because there is a difference between shipping 1 box and 2. It also lets me tell my customer to expect 2 boxes. All right, I'm going to pick ground service. And when I select it, if I look back up at my sales lines here, I can see that it has added my freight line on here. Now that's important for 1, I can tell my customer how much freight is. And for 2, when I'm going to go out and get a credit card authorization, I'm going to have the correct amount authorized. And that helps with my processing fees. So a couple of things are going to happen when I release this order. The first thing is that UPS is going to do an address validation. This is using their database of addresses, so shipping to the wrong address can be costly. This is just making sure we've got it right. I had entered an order to go to 192 Market Square. It sees a 192 Market Street in the system, and it's confirming whether or not I want to use that one. If I have my customer on the phone, I can just confirm that. We'll stick with the one we have. Now we're going to get a credit card authorization, and some notify emails are going to go out. And I'm sorry, it's running a little bit slow at the moment. Normally 2015 is lightning fast, but of course, because we're on a demo, it's taking longer. All right, there we went. So if I look at my fact box on the right now, I can see that my net amount authorized does include my freight charge. And I can see a couple of other things. So let's navigate to our email log and see who got our ChargeLogic Notify email. So I can see that the order confirmation was sent, the date, time, and I can even see to who. So it looks like the salesperson got copied and the customer got the original. And we'll see what those emails look like here shortly. All right, so this is order 1436. And now I'm ready to ship the item. So let's finish this order up at our shipping station. I'm going to go into our shipping. I'm going to switch hats now. I'm going to be in the warehouse. And with this last order here. So our shipping station interface is, we sort of leveraged our retail experience to have easy buttons and make it very easy for someone in the warehouse to get packages out the door. Instead of having to learn any complicated shipping process, it's very easy. They would select their package. You can either use barcode scanning if you've got like a barcode on your pick ticket. You can use keyboard and mouse like I'm doing today. We've got you can use the function buttons, and it also supports the touch screen. So I'm going to select the package I want to pack up. And I can see now I've got my items that are ready to be packed. If I'm barcode scanning, I can just scan each one at a time. I'm going to pack that. Let's pack the first 10. I know it's 2 boxes, and I've got 20 altogether, and I can close my first package. Because I'm not hooked up to a scale, it's confirming the weight. If I was hooked up to a scale, it wouldn't need to do that. And now I can pack my second package. If I don't want a barcode scan, I actually I'm going to start packing this one. I could change the quantity and just pack all 10 at once, or maybe I'm scanning those items then. I'm going to close that package. Again, confirming the weight. And then again, these buttons are changing as I get to different points in the packing process. So if maybe I get a call from customer service that says, wait, that customer wants to change now to overnight. Maybe I want to suspend the package because one of my items is damaged and I need to call up and see what customer service wants to do about it. So it gives me some different choices here. But for now, we're just going to post these packages. Now, if I'm hooked up to a label printer, my labels are just going to spit out as sending some shipment notifications by ChargeLogic Notify. Because I don't have a label printer, it can also print to a laser printer. So the next thing it's going to try to do here is print my labels. And I'm just going to go to an XPS. We're going to call this a 303 demo. And of course, there are two packages, so it's printing both labels. Demo 2. And because it's a laser printer, it's just making sure that the label is printed properly. It wouldn't ask me this if I had a label printer. And then I could go on to my next package. So I'll go ahead and exit my shipping station now. We'll go back into ChargeLogic. Let's just take a look at, I can find the label, where it went. Here we go. This is actually a different label I printed from yesterday, but still gives you the point. It shows you, this is coming from UPS, it shows you that this is, package 2 of 2, so it will number the packages as well. All right, so let's come back home. We're going to look at our sales orders, and we're going to go to shipped not invoiced, and it should be the last one here. So now I've still got my net amount authorized in here. Our package has all been fully shipped. So now I just need to post my invoice to get this through the system. 103377. Sending out all my notify emails. So again, just the regular actions in NAV, releasing orders, posting shipments, posting invoices, kicks off all kinds of things happening. And let's see here. This should be the order. My net amount, I think it must have added, I don't know if I had a discount in there. Something happened with my freight amount, but it did show me now that my amount authorized has moved to my net amount settled. And again, I can navigate to my email log. I can see who got that invoice, what time. I see the email addresses who received it. So as far as being able to let your customers know what's happening with their orders, it's very easy to keep people up to date. All right, so that is a prepaid order with a credit card. Let's go to a posted invoice that went out, it's an item that went out on account, and now the customer is calling because they want to make a payment. I can see on my fact box on the right, I can pull up the posted invoice itself. No payment has been processed against it yet, so I can come to my actions and go ahead and put through an authorization. There's always going to be an authorization and a settlement. But for a posted invoice, I just want to charge the card. I don't need to hold an authorization until I'm ready to ship. So I have an automation option set here that says, if I am processing a payment against a posted document, authorize it, but then immediately settle it so I can charge the card today. The user just has to tab through this authorization. ChargeLogic knows the amount of the invoice. This customer does not have a default card on file. They may have other cards. If I did a lookup, you could pick one of the other cards. But maybe they just want to give me a new card today. When I hit enter, it's going to access remote storage. It's going to get in a token. Now the token is what's in my NAV system. And we'll just put in my expiration. So I'm going to submit my authorization. It's going to authorize, settle, done. It's approved. And now if I look at my fact box on the right, I can see my amount here. So that is done. All right, so we've seen regular payments. We've seen paying a posted invoice. You can use multiple credit cards to pay a single transaction. Maybe they want to split it up. You can pay one one credit card payment to pay multiple invoices. Maybe they've called up on the phone and they want to make multiple payments. You can use prepayment functionality if you're interested. So let's see what's happening on the other side of this coin now. Let's go to the customer's inbox and see these notify emails that they've been getting. So for example, here is this is an order confirmation. Again, this is fully customizable, your logo, your colors, any text you want it to say, different sections. This is very generic. Thanks for shopping with us. Let you know we've received your order. And it gives them, and this happened to be the order that was prepaid with a credit card. So one nice thing, which you don't get out of NAV, is that it shows you down at the bottom that we actually did process their payment on this American Express. So they actually have a receipt already that, even though this is just the order confirmation, and it's showing the authorization at this point. See? Now, when I go to my shipment notification, we're happy to let you know your items are on their way. Again, these are sort of emails we're all used to seeing. It is trying to plug in my tracking number because this is I'm using a test account with UPS. It doesn't exactly look great, but it would look correct when you're using a live account. And then they also got a copy of their invoice, and again, this one was prepaid, so I can actually see that they have a receipt, they have the invoice now, and it shows that the payment was processed on the American Express. And you can have all kinds of things in these notify emails, FAQs, if I have a question. So it's a very good way to keep your customer up to date. So let's actually create a new order that will generate one of those click-to-pay invoices. So I'm just going to put out a new order on account. And I'll just get something in here. All right. So this customer down at the bottom, I can see there's no credit card showing. They don't have a credit card on file. We're just sending this out on account. What they do have in their invoicing section is an electronic invoice type. And you have some different choices using ChargeLogic Notify, where you can only send an emailed invoice. You can print it and email it. You can suppress the printing in NAV. So you have various choices on what behavior you want. So I'm just going to post it, just a regular NAV posting. And actually, before I post it, if I navigate again to that email address list, here's my log of who's getting what. So I can change that or add somebody. Sometimes I get a request to resend an invoice, and this is what I'm using. I'll just come back in here and send it to somebody else, for example. So I'm going to post this through. Sending out all my notify emails. And it's transmitting that invoice up to the Connect server, which is kicking off an email that goes to the customer for their invoice. And again, if I go to that posted document, that last one, I can see the email log of who got it and what time. So for collection standpoint, this is a really cool feature. And we actually, in-house here, we do not mail it. We're completely paperless. We don't mail anything anymore. So this is a very nice feature. So before I show you the invoice that just got mailed in here, that order I just processed, this is an example down here of a ChargeLogic Connect click-to-pay invoice, but doesn't have ChargeLogic Notify. If you remember that one slide I showed you, the PDF attachment of the invoice is here. It's nothing too fancy, but it gets the point across. The general email, and it has billing and shipping information. You can put your logo and your colors, but that's all you can add to this. It has the PO number, date, the items, and the amount. And then embedded in the email is this click to pay. So you can control the billing, the email address it's coming from, billing@yourcompanyname.com or whatever you want that to be. But that's about it. So now let's look at the same click to pay invoice where you've added ChargeLogic Notify and really fancied it up. This can be, as I said, completely customized using HTML. And here's my invoice, thanks for your order, and then there is this embedded button, click to pay online. When the customer clicks to pay it, they're actually, they put in an amount that they're approving, so this is them giving you permission to charge the card. It's taking them to a hosted payment page on the Connect server. So you can put your logo and your colors on here. I think that's all you can modify on this, but it looks a little more professional than the other one. And it does have all the pertinent information an invoice would have. So the customer can put in their payment information here. Let's use a MasterCard. My security code, expiration. Now what happens next when they say pay the invoice? And by the way, you can actually include a feature to let them pay by check or credit card if you want them to be able to put in their checking account information instead of their credit card number. But we have this set up for credit card payment. When they pay the invoice, it's going to say processing, and what it's actually doing is passing that request through the Connect server and going out to your payment processor to get the approval on the transaction. So we'll see that. Please wait while it's being processed. As soon as that's approved, they get a receipt right in front of them. Thanks for your payment. Please print this page for your records. And at the bottom, it shows the credit card number they used, date, and dollar amount. If they try to click that button again, it's actually just going to take them to the same page, so they can't click it twice. Every email that goes out has a unique short URL assigned to it, so that's why it takes them to the same page. If you choose to print invoices and mail them as well as email them, that short URL is going to be printed on the invoice itself, so they actually could receive it by mail but log in online to make a secure payment. All right, so we are going to pop back into NAV for a moment. I'm going to go to the home screen. Now, normally this would be automated, but you can manually do it as well. There's a function to retrieve payments and orders, which we'll see next, which is the last thing, the web orders. You can the Connect server and say, did you get any new payments for me? You don't have to, NAV does not have to be up and running for customers to do this. So if you're doing a backup or restarting your service tier or anything you need to be doing in upgrading, customers can still use this functionality. And when NAV is ready, we'll call out to the Connect server looking for any new payments. And let's go to that posted document now. When I look at the posted document over on the right-hand side, I can see that that payment that was made online has already come in, is linked to this sales, posted sales invoice. So all the user had to do was post the invoice like they normally would, and then the software took care of everything else. The customer made their payment online. You can set up a scheduler to pull our Connect server for any new payments, and this all just happens automatically. We'll see in a minute or two that when we get to our cash receipts journal, these payment application IDs are already going to be all filled in, so there's nothing a user has to do. All right, the last thing we're going to look at here today is processing a web order. This is an e-commerce site that has integrated with ChargeLogic Connect. Now the site itself is this is just a generic off-the-shelf. We're not looking at the quality of the site, but it's just where ChargeLogic Connect is going to interface. So let's go ahead and place an order here. I'm just going to order some Adidas. I'll make it two just so the dollar amount's different, 2 pairs. Again, the cart itself, the shopping experience, this isn't a ChargeLogic. You would have your e-commerce, your web shop design a much nicer website than this. I'm going to check out as a guest, my shipping, my billing, my shipping method. Okay, now here's where ChargeLogic Connect comes in. There are 2 different options you can have on your website for a customer to check out. It's called ChargeLogic Checkout. This is an embedded iframe, so this is a customer, when they enter their credit card information, they are actually entering it onto the Connect server, although to them it looks invisible. It looks like they're just staying on your site, but it keeps your website and your website servers out of, well, still in scope for PCI compliance, but they're not touching the card numbers. So let me just get that payment information in here. So when I hit confirm the order, it's actually going to be passing through the Connect server. I think I have one more confirmation. It's going to pass through the Connect server just like that invoice payment did, out to your payment processor to get the approval. And when that approval comes back, it's going to say thanks for your order, and now it's up to your website. It's actually up to your website, whatever it says, whatever you want to display to your customer. If you didn't choose that embedded iframe, the other alternative is having the customer they automatically get redirected to a hosted payment page. That's that same page we just looked at where I made an invoice payment online, and they can fill it out, and then that page will send them right back to their shopping cart, and your website decides what you want them to know. You know, thanks for your order or anything else. All right, so the website is done. That order is now being held on the Connect server until NAV is ready. And again, some people schedule, they pull the Connect server every hour. We have some high volume customers that pull every minute. I think we do ours every hour. Some people might just do it a couple times a day. But we're going to retrieve the new payments here, new payments and orders. So in this case, it's actually pulling in a new sales order. That order that was placed on the web. Let's see. Go to our open sales orders. Should be this last one here. So all I had to do was get that either somebody manually or have a scheduler call out to the Connect server. And here's my web order. I've got my Adidas, 2 pairs, $40 over on the right. My authorization came in with it. It can create the sales order using your standard order template. So if you have custom fields, they can all be mapped. Any data that they enter on your website can be brought into a sales order into your NAV system. The payment itself also comes in. And the nice thing is you're not just getting the payment, you're actually also getting the token that represents the card number. So if you have maybe a back order that you have to fill, you've got the card number available if you need to give a refund, a month from now. This will now be stored against the customer's account for future use. And if the customer doesn't exist in your NAV system, you can also have it auto-create a new customer card using your customer template, filling in all the fields it needs. It will check to look for a matching billing email address. If it doesn't find one, it will create a customer card as well. All right, so we're just going to post this through, and let's show you the quick end of day. So at the end of the day, all your transactions, remember I said from the slide, they're accumulating in a batch inside of your NAV system. So let's open up this batch. And here we can see all those different transactions that I processed. It shows me, the card number that's represented, the invoice, the document number, the bill to customer. This is also oftentimes automated, but at the end of the day, when your users are done, we're going to get this batch out to the processor, and this is our first time letting somebody know that we want to charge these cards today. And we like this control because, as you know, sometimes customer calls and they want to change something. They might say, you know what, cancel my order, or I gave you the wrong credit card. I can just come right to my batch. I can come in here and remove a transaction from the batch, or maybe even void it if they want to cancel the order. And I don't have to go anywhere outside of my NAV system to make these kind of corrections. So we really like the fact that users, you don't have to log in online to some portal. You can control everything from inside of NAV. So whether I've got a scheduler set to submit this batch or I manually do it, I've closed my batch, submit it. Once the processor has accepted the batch, my cash receipts journal is going to automatically populate. And we can see here that the cash receipts journal has been all filled in. I've got all my applies to document numbers all filled in. So once I post cash receipts, those cash is going to be applied automatically. And let's just see, we'll check one. 78, okay. So let's post that. And you can actually even automate posting of cash receipts. So you can have the batch go out automatically, cash receipts populates, and cash receipts posts automatically as well. So let's just take a little peek at one of those customers. If I come to their ledger entries, it's going to be one of these last ones. So here's my $599. There's the order that they paid online. The remaining amount here is 0, and I can see the payment as well. So really, with almost no human interaction, everything just happens by itself, and it's a very clean interface. We'll take a quick look. We're just about done really here, but just to kind of give you an idea, there's certainly not time to go into all the depths of our products, but there are all kinds of reports that can be run. There's a settlement report that you can run for your credit card statement reconciliation. So this one is helpful. There are other ways you can set up a clearing account for reconciliation as well. But here we try to mirror the way credit card statements come to you, which is normally a subtotal by card type with a grand total for the day. And lots of other reporting capabilities as well built into the software. I think that's probably all we have time for today. Obviously, we do have deeper dive demos. I guess I'll wrap it up to say I'd like to just really thank everyone for taking the time to sort of see a whirlwind tour of all things ChargeLogic and just how our suite of products can work together to help your business. And thank you also to Inovia again for inviting us and giving us a chance to give everybody a high-level look at our different products. So Abby, I think I'm turning it back over to you.
Perfect, Debbie. We do have a few questions. They're all kind of interrelated here. So I'm going to read all of them out to you at the same time, and then we can go back and kind of parse them into points.
Okay.
They're all about shipping. So are both FedEx and UPS fully integrated into ChargeLogic shipping? Does one need to step into their software or website at any step? The next part of that question, how does this handle international shipments outside of Canada? Do you still use regular shipping for that? And sort of the third part of that question, can you hold an order for shipment until a customer has paid via the click-to-pay feature?
Okay.
So back to the first part, are FedEx and UPS fully integrated into shipping? Does one need to step into their software or website at any step?
No, they are fully integrated. You have all the features available to you right through your NAV interface. So you just select the shipping agent, and then all the functionality is already there.
All right, awesome. And the second part of that question, how does this handle international shipments outside of Canada? Do you still use regular shipping for that?
Yes. So the piece from Canada was that you can ship from Canada and from the U.S., but you can ship to anywhere in the world that UPS and FedEx goes. And as I say, we also have TNT, U.S. Post Office, and we're adding DHL, and that will give you, even a wider international range. The software will take care of printing out all your international documents, so any customs documents that you need. It'll provide all of that information to you.
Great. And then the third part of the question, can you hold an order for shipment until a customer has paid via the click-to-pay feature?
So I might have to, I don't know whether that would require a slight modification, because I guess you could, actually, now that I think about it, because you can post just the invoice and NAV without posting the shipment. And then what happens, and I didn't mention this, so this is a great question. When you set up click-to-pay invoicing, when a customer does click the button and make the payment, you can have it automatically generate an email to somebody. So you pick an email address that you want it to be notified when a payment has been made. So that actually, would trigger that, okay, this order has been paid, and now you can, send the picking ticket down to your shipping department or whatever your workflow is. So yes, I think you could just post the invoice, wait to do the shipping process until you get that email notification that the payment was made via click to pay, and then you can let your warehouse pack that up. Any other questions?
Well, it would help if I took myself off of mute. We really appreciate the demonstration here today, Debbie. I know that was a lot of information to kind of try to fit into a short amount of time, but I think it was a great overview of your product and kind of how it can help our NAV customers with their e-commerce needs.
Well, great. Well, thank you. I know I did just throw a lot of information at everybody. So, if you saw parts of it that look of interest, reach out to Inovia. They definitely have the experts that know our products well.
All right. Thank you so much, Debbie, and thank you everyone for coming to our webinar.
Great. Thanks very much.